for me, sex is like the biggest gift you can give another person, and it's a special thing, and it creates a special bond. So for me, it's not something that I want to do just with anybody.
You know what's so funny about that? So we knew that she had been talking to Bozo. Then Bozo left her. Then he came back because she was basically like a rebound. And she was more than happy to really have that connection with him. Really happy for him to stay. Really wanted him to show her that physical affection. But he didn't want to do none of that. But she was still giving the energy as if he deserved to be close to her. So for me personally, it kind of feels like she's contradicting what she's saying here. But let's play some more.
That he thinks so highly of me makes me even scared even more, because what does he see in me that I don't see in myself? You know, it doesn't even exist. Maybe he's seeing something that he wishes he sees.
Now here's the thing, because she has a conversation with this new fella here, and the conversation is regarding the fact that he's got a kid, and you know, he's asking those questions, you know, are you going to be open to be in my life knowing that I've got a child? Are you going to be happy to, you know, share this role of being a parent to the child that I have fostered? And here's the thing, obviously in that same conversation, he tells a whole bunch of positive things, and then all of a sudden her reaction is to get absolutely emotional and say all these things. Now, the only reason I bring it up is because of somebody who appears in one light to be quite confident in her own abilities and confident in the fact that she can get a man and all this kind of stuff. It's just interesting when she then, all of a sudden, her mood just switches. It just changes to this person that is now unsure about themselves. I'm a bit confused. It's either you're sure about yourself or you're unsure about yourself. Because here's the thing. What comes next just confuses me even more.
Are you my boyfriend?
Yeah.
I'm so glad we're official.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Initially, this wouldn't confuse me because we knew that when she met Bozo, all she ever kept doing was trying to, you know, well, in fact, she flew to Croatia with the intentions of Bozo proposing to her. That's what she wanted. The whole time, Bozo wasn't even considering her his girlfriend. Okay? So we knew that was the energy that she wanted. Now, remember, she has made it abundantly clear several times that she has been celibate for 6 bloody years. Yet, her actions don't really back up that statement, because she came here with intentions of getting close to Bozo as physical as possible, as quick as possible. Now, physically, it doesn't necessarily mean that she wanted intimacy with him. It could have just been a matter where she wanted some kisses, she wanted some hugs, but let's be real. The way she was talking about Bozo, them having intimacy was probably something that would have happened at 100%. I wouldn't have been surprised if it happened on the first night, personally. So we fast forward to this guy here. Now we know that she came and booked this trip for 3 weeks. 3 weeks she booked this trip for. She saw Bozo for the first week. I'm not too sure how many days she showed him in the first week. It could have been 3, could have been 4, could have been 5. It could have been the full week, who knows. But within that timeline, she obviously would have had to spend a little bit more time by herself until this man came along. If this man came along, let's say the day after she had just split up with Bozo, it doesn't make sense how she's able to how she'd been able to move that quickly with her emotional side of herself to want to latch on to this new guy just like that, given the fact that she was so hungry for Bozo. But then that tells us, or tell herself, that her feelings for him maybe were never that strong in the first place. Okay? Maybe they were just a lie or fake hope, whatever you could call it. But either way, though, now, she would have met this guy, you know, some point within her second week, which means really and truly, she had only really had about a week left to really know him, right? Generally speaking. And you're telling me in that week that she's got to know this man, she's already got to the point where she's like, okay, I see myself wanting to be with you. Will you be my boyfriend? To then having the same conversation about him and his kid. All right, hold on a minute.
I've never had a good experience with a long-distance relationship, but...
No, it wasn't.
Let's not forget that her relationship with Bozo didn't work out because of long distance as well. That was a part of why he left her to begin with. You know, obviously, despite the fact that he left her to be with another woman, her being long distance would have played a certain part into that as well. But anyway.
Because it was just a weird way for the universe to get me to meeting the love of my life.
How do you go from, I'm flying from Florida to Croatia to meet the man that I want to propose to me, to then it not working out, and then within the space of a couple of days to a week, you're now saying that this man is your love of your life just like that. Just like that.
Amazing. Chastity belts could potentially come off a little bit easier.
So let me get this right. At the beginning of this episode, you know, we started off with them obviously being in bed together, but clarifying that they didn't have an intimacy. We end the episode with them looking like as if they're gonna have some intimacy, purely because he said, "I'll be your boyfriend." So you're telling me all it took was for one man to tell you that yes, he's gonna be your man for you to sleep with him? Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, because obviously it gives you the insurance, the security that you want to know that this person isn't going to leave you, which is dumb as hell, because just because somebody said they're going to be a partner, it doesn't mean that they're going to stay with you forever. There's still that possibility that things could not work out regardless. That happens. It's called life. Okay? Point being is that when it comes to Vanya and her personality and her story, there's a lot of lack of consistencies. There's a lot of things that just don't make sense. You cannot tell me that you traveled all the way from Florida to Croatia to marry a man, right? No, with the hopes this man was going to propose to you. You then find out this man never saw you as his girlfriend the whole entire time. But even in that time you discovered this, you were still trying to get his friends to convince him that he should be pursuing you. It didn't work out. Fast forward, you meet this guy a couple of days later on. All of a sudden, you're already calling him the love of your life, and you're more than happy to potentially open your legs, despite the fact that you said you only do that only if you feel like you find a connection with a man that is worth it. So you're telling me in all those 6 years you never come across a single man that never made you feel like you was worth something? Everything is always up for speculation, but hey, we move on to the next couple. Let me know your thoughts on this one.
Beautiful. I don't want anything to ruin our happiness tonight, but I know that I have to bring this conversation as soon as possible.
You know, when this scene came up, the first thing I said was, so you're happy to sleep with her, even though when it comes to your religion, you're not supposed to sleep with the woman that's supposed to be your wife until you actually marry her. It's funny how Sonny is more than happy to break rules that fit his narrative. But when it comes to Vea breaking her rules, well, guess what? It's a different conversation. But anyway, we'll get into it.
If we are together, there's an option is going to come that you have to change your religion.
Here's what you're talking about. I think that you feel a lot of pressure from outsiders, like Ollie and your dad.
Let's talk about this. Why would Vea feel like he's getting pressure? Instead of her thinking, oh, hold on a minute, this man is blindsiding me, her first reaction was, well, you seem to be getting pressure from outsiders. Simple. Because he lied to her. He made her feel as if she never would need to convert at any given point. But obviously, since she's been there, all she's heard from his friend, as well as his dad, is that she needs to convert. But she never heard it directly out of whose mouth? Out of Sonny's mouth. So, of course, she's going to be in that situation where she's going to believe that maybe he's not trying to... Maybe he didn't manipulate me. Maybe he didn't do me wrong. Maybe he just changed his mind out because of the family. And it's so sad that that's the position that she was in mentally. But now to find out that this man was nothing but just a scumbag who had lied to her this whole time just to mislead her, nasty work. But to be honest with you, the thing that I couldn't figure out is Vea's reactions. I just don't understand why she wasn't madder. But we'll get into it.
No, that's not true. That's totally not true. Because I believe that people can be changed, and I can change people if I want to with love. And
this guy fully sat there and said that, oh, you know, basically, I was hoping that my love and your love for me would hopefully work so you to change your mind and that, yes, you would actually convert. Yo, make that make sense. So this guy really thought that love was going to be the tool that was going to allow him to make that room to then say, actually, do you know what? I changed my mind. I want you to convert. Don't get me wrong. Is it something that does work for some people? Yes, it does. But do you know what you call that? You call that manipulation. You call that taking advantage of somebody. Okay? The deception is fine. It's like, what the hell? And the worst thing about this dude is that he takes no accountability for anything that he has done. He was so mad at Vea for bringing Rory with him, which I do agree with. But meanwhile, this guy's been a bigger snake than she has. He's been doing a whole different dirty. Oh.
I wanted to love you first, and I did.
Strict Muslims aren't going to have sex before marriage, so you are conflicted.
I believe my religion. I do. And I try my best to do, but I'm still young. I do sometimes mess up.
Look at the way this guy said, well, but I am still young, so of course, you know, I'm still going to mess up. So you're telling me because you're young, you're allowed to mess up in terms of the fact that it's okay for you to sleep with somebody knowing that you haven't married them yet. Let's just make that make sense. Make that make sense. This guy had the audacity to sit there and say that, well, I slept with you because I made a mistake, because I got too bro, you knew what you was doing. This guy paid for the apartment or arranged the place that they are living in right now. Okay, he on the first night she was there, man had candles lit up all around the room, making it all romantic and stuff. This guy acting as if like this whole time he hasn't tried to, you know, do things in romantic ways, as if all of a sudden this is a new thing. Don't lie. There was never, you didn't slip up. You didn't make a mistake in your religion by sleeping with her. It has nothing to do with him being young. You knew what you wanted. You saw her and you saw how she looked once she obviously got dressed in whatever she was wearing, and you couldn't resist the temptation. But here's the funny part though. Here's the funny part. Isn't he supposed to have this conversation with Vea beforehand? Before she even came to South Africa? Aren't they supposed to have that conversation of there is no sex before marriage? Maybe they did have that conversation. But we know Vea, she could really give a damn about the religion part, because here's the thing. If they've had that conversation of no sex before marriage, and then they decided to have sex regardless, do you know what would have motivated that? What would have motivated that, and what would have made Vea feel comfortable enough to even think that it's going to even happen? Because think about it. Why would she fly all the way there with all these sexy different outfits to wear? For a reason, because he said you don't need to convert, which means that he is basically saying that he doesn't follow the rules of his actual religion. He picks some and then he leaves some behind, okay? So that means he would have told her and made her feel comfortable enough with the idea that she would have known that he's already given her the approval that yes, they can be intimate before it. This guy is a full-on freaking scumbag real quick. Oh my days, the more I think about it, wow. I haven't even finished the clip yet. But let's just really process the situation right now. Let's just deep the situation right now. The calamitous that is happening here is ridiculous. This man fully told this girl, okay, that when you come here, we do not need to get married. No, sorry, you do not need to convert. Okay, I am not, it is not something that is important to me. It's not something that matters to me. Okay, but when you meet my family, I may need you to cover your tattoos and I may need you to kind of play along a little bit. Okay. So therefore, because I don't care about you converting, that also means that I don't care about us being intimate before marriage. This guy's a full, oh my days. Oh my days. See, man like him, they're the ones you need to watch out for. The ones that play soft, the ones that play innocent, the ones that play like Mr. Nice Guy. These are the most dangerous ones. Trust me. Yeah. I call these the silent alphas. The silent predators. Nah, man, this guy's wrong for this. Dirty work, nasty methods right now. Huh.
I do mistake, but I go back to Allah and I ask for forgiveness.
I have no desire to cover my hair. I've done that before. So
And
much.
whoever did that to it's the wrong thing. They didn't have any right to do that things to you.
But you're asking me to do
that. I just love the way she caught him out on that one. But you're asking me to do that though. You're basically forced me to. This guy thinks he's smart. And I think luckily he's not as smart as he thinks, and luckily Vea's kind of awake to what he's saying. She's replying correctly. The thing that I just don't understand is why she still continues to chase him. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
It can't be a place where you worship Allah and I worship my, like, who I believe in, like God, you know? I feel like you're giving me an ultimatum, like, oh, eventually it has to happen, or...
That's exactly what he's doing. Ultimatum. You see, if you convert or there's none of you two are not together at all.
Well, Sonny, that's just gonna break our relationship because I'm not becoming Muslim.
I'm so frustrated and I'm so angry. I know that they're never gonna understand my feelings with this. I feel like she's being selfish.
I'm sorry, who's being selfish? Who is being selfish?
I'm so confused because you never told me, like, I actually have to convert. What the are we gonna do?
Beautiful.
You see, this guy never told her. Never told her a single thing. But I don't understand why she chased this guy. She should be walking the opposite direction. The guy has deceived you, he has lied to you, he has manipulated the situation. He is a scumbag. He is a waste man. He's not a good person. I hope their relationship ends with her walking away, because this behavior is unacceptable. The way he has misled her is crazy work. What she did with Rory was light work. And to think to be fair, you know what, it is what it is. Let's move on to the next couple. Let me know your thoughts on these guys. And of course, subscribe and like the channel. Let's go.
Now, here's the problem. There is currently no law in Thailand that allows same-sex marriage.
She doesn't need a visa to get to?
So, same-sex marriage is valid in Taiwan. And I think the visa requirements is not that strict. Fortunately,
it will not be recognized in the Philippines.
Yeah, we all know Lauren wasn't happy to hear that information. You know, definitely was not happy to hear that. The matter of the fact is, these two are in a situation where it is easy for her to come to the States rather than it is for him to stay there in the Philippines. And that's just something that he has to come to terms with. But yeah, Lauren was definitely struggling with that one. Meanwhile, Faith, on the other hand,
Right.
Kind of out of her hands.
Okay.
But as for the US side, you guys will allow her. Yeah.
So I make like no money at all. Like I can't afford rent.
If you guys are serious in bringing her to the US, that's one of the things you have to get in order.
you know, something hit me here. I think he knew. No, in fact, I know. He knew that there's no way he'd be able to get her a sponsor if he doesn't have good financial security behind him. He knew this, okay? And he was hoping that he could use that to his favor in terms of the fact that it is better for him to move there rather than her to move to the States. Now, obviously, he thought that moving to the Philippines would have been a whole lot more easier than what it's come to, but obviously it's not. Okay, maybe he underestimated them purely because it's the Philippines and he thought, well, it's not a first world country, bloody, bloody, da, da. But there's a lot of people who judge other countries because they think that maybe America is that Americans can just go anywhere and just live freely with no, you know, repercussions or whatever, right? But the matter of fact is that it shot him itself in the foot because he didn't do this type of research. He just expected it to happen. But for me personally, I think that he is somebody that avoids working so he doesn't pay child support. He avoids working so he doesn't, or avoids having a job that is got lots of fun, shall I say, to avoid having to pay bills and rent, so therefore he can sleep at other people's homes. And also he's somebody that pretty much avoided working because he knew full on well that means he wouldn't be able to sponsor anybody to come to the United States of America, and he would only have the option to move there. I don't know. Something tells me that he knew this, and he's acting as if he didn't know this information. Because let's be real, who doesn't know this information? Let's be real. Come on now. And he's the one that even brought up the whole sponsor thing as well. He even said it, but as a sponsor, don't I need to work? So he knew this. This guy was fully ready to blindside Faith in any way possible just to be able to move to the Philippines. This guy is nasty work right here.
Your economic status will come into play.
So the best option will be the fiancé visa, I think, that we can do.
Okay. I want to talk about Faith because Faith is really happy. She wants to come to America, but I could never afford to sponsor Faith with a K-1 visa.
The funny thing is, he says never. He could, to be fair. He can not easily, but he can go out there, you know, get a job, pick up some hours or whatever. Because this guy was clearly working before he became wherever the hell he's become, all right? Because remember, this guy comes from, I mean, maybe I'm wrong to say this, or maybe I'm wrong to assume this, but I just want to assume that because he was married before, he had kids before, I'm pretty sure he must have had some form of a stable life back then. But at some point, that relationship went downhill, he left, and then decided to just do everything completely the other way around, and that is just doing things the way Lauren sees fit. I don't know, something about it is just a bit iffy, but yeah. You know, I feel like I'm not even making any sense anymore because it's hard to make sense with this freaking dude. But yeah, anyway, let's get into what went down with Faith later on.
Can you stop that one?
What?
No, Copper, you did do this one.
Why not? It's not sharp.
Is this a normal way to sir?
Then I'm not going to crush any more cans.
But I'm not comfortable regarding to this because all I know, we're here because this is our last night.
It took me well to understand this scene and to understand what the issue was with Faith.
I thought it's, you know, I'm scared what you do.
You're scared of what I do.
Yeah, talking with me like this. Is it normal for you?
Yes.
Can we move this one? And I am not comfortable, sorry.
And then boom, Gail just gets up, removes the ring and says, we are done, I'm out. Done. I'm like, what's going on here? Okay, fair enough, he was playing with a knife, and fair enough, you don't like knives. Cool, he could put it down, then you move on. But no, she wasn't willing to just let it go there. She was like, I didn't ask questions. Thinking, what is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bread knife. It's a knife, and because you're Fiancé, we don't know who is the real one.
And then and then it got me thinking, maybe because she's a trans person and maybe where she's from or maybe what she's learned over the years from just hearing stories or whatever, she's very aware of that there is this thing. Obviously, this is new to me, so this is me just assuming right now, okay? But I'm going to assume that maybe there are people out there who target trans people with the desire to actually just, I guess, maybe take their life. Because I honestly, when she says, you know, we don't know who is the real one to accept us. So obviously here, it feels as if she's saying that maybe Lauren is playing a character where he's pretending to like her, for who she is, but in reality, he has got a plan to basically, I guess, gut her. The only issue though with this is that if that was true, if Lauren was going to do that, I don't think he would do this on a TV show though, you know? So that's my only context. Given that my assumption is correct, that she's nervous about the knife because she's nervous about the things that happen to trans people that are targeted by people who obviously have an agenda against them, I'm just saying it doesn't fit necessarily this, because you've got a whole film crew, everybody who is there. There's too many people there to know who he is, to know who you are, okay, for starters. And also now, of course, it's on TV. So obviously there's a whole bunch of us that is now seeing who he is. So really and truly, if he had those intentions, I don't think he would have wanted to. No, I know for sure he wouldn't have then asked you to come on a national TV show, knowing that when he flew to the Philippines, he was going to be flying there with a whole camera crew, people who have his name, he have his identity, da-da-da-da. So really and truly, I'm going to say that, in my opinion, based on the situation itself in particular, Faith is overreacting. But if the camera did not exist, if Lauren had arrived there by himself and these things happen, of course, none of us know about it, then 100% her reaction makes all the sense. Unless she's telling us that she just doesn't trust Americans, she doesn't trust the production team, she generally thinks that maybe they're there with him to basically, you know, lure in and, you know, just take her life and da-da-da-da-da. Maybe she thinks there's a whole cover-up going on, I don't know. That sounds even more messed up. Listen, at the end of the day, though, I'm definitely not trying to make light work or light conversation of the situation. I'm just saying that I'm understanding her reaction, but it's not making sense with the fact that there's a whole bunch of witnesses. Yeah. And also, this man has met the family, but then again, maybe that doesn't matter as much because, to be fair, even some people who do some messed up things to you, they will meet everybody that you know and still do messed up things to you. So, yeah. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Although, actually, no, F that. Although, I will say this, though. The biggest benefit from this scene is that it brings awareness to other trans people to look for signs. And it also brings awareness to people who don't know about these things when it comes to trans people, even though it hasn't been explained by her. But based on my assumption, I would say it was good to see her reaction. So therefore, it wakens up my brain to noticing or realizing that these things do happen to people who are trans. You see what I'm saying? So there is that side of the picture as well, you know, bringing that awareness. Maybe TLC really was doing some learning, really was teaching us something, you know, the learning channel. But let's move on.
I'm pregnant, and Adnan's gonna be a father.
Do you know what I realized today? And obviously this is on to me. I only realized today that Adnan was 22. She's like 40 something, right? Was she 40, 41, 42? Either way, there's near enough 20 years between these two. Imagine becoming pregnant with somebody that's half your age. So technically you are old enough not only to be that person's mother, but you're also old enough to be the grandparent to the child you're going to have with that person. Just let that sink in. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in. That is crazy work right there. Wow. But anyway, for me personally, I'm not going to sit there and say congratulations because I think their whole relationship is ridiculous. You know, the fact that she's out here seeking a man that of that half the age, for me personally, is just weird as hell. And the fact that, you know, their relationship is the way it is also weird as well. So for me personally, I'm just going to say, yeah, I'm not saying congratulations. I don't even know why I even added this now. Oh yeah, I did it because I wanted to say what I said originally. That's it. Yeah. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Are you happy with these two or not? And I will say this though. She said that she's going to wait until she sees him to tell him rather than tell him over the phone. I don't know whether that's a good or a bad idea. Obviously, I've never been in this situation. So let me know your thoughts on that as well. With that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.